Welcome, party people. You're listening to the Dual Threat Show. I've got my buddy Jason Simard here with me. I am Todd Tramonte, and we've got a fun one today. This one, it's going to be interesting. If you've watched any of our past episodes, hopefully you have caught the one where Jason and I discuss eXp Realty and why neither of us made the choice to move our companies there, although both of us had been people had offered it to us, people had invited us, told us about it, but we both felt like that wasn't the best choice for our teams. But since that time, one of us has changed our opinion and changed our company up quite a bit, and that person is not me. So I will do some of the question asking today, and we'll let Jason do a lot more of the question answering.
All right, rapid fire. Start
with just kind of what did you actually do, and then we'll get into some of the details.
So end of July 2019, our team made the shift over to eXp Realty. So Sims Real Estate Group is now powered by eXp Realty. We're really proud of that, and we are officially on board with the what I feel is actually a really positive movement in real estate, and pretty excited about it.
Yeah, so I mean, we were joking a little bit just because our last conversation, ironically, Jason was probably even more emphatic than me than he was not going to do that, but he obviously has, and he wouldn't do that if he hadn't thought through it very critically and thought about, the value and the benefit not only to him but to his team members and their clients, of course. So that's where most of my questions come from, and I think I speak for a lot of people that have had their eye on eXp for a while. I mean, in our last episode on this topic, you and I discussed, I think I was first introduced to a Brent Go video on eXp over 2 years ago, right after he came on, and he's been one of the main drivers of a lot of the growth in agent count, as far as I understand it. I'm certainly not an expert, but let's start with this. What was the number one reason you decided to move? And I'm going to still add that caveat of decided to move after having decided not to move, right? So the initial pitch wasn't strong enough, or the timing wasn't right. Mm-hmm. So something finally grabbed you. What was that?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I was very ignorant for over a year on the opportunity. I was very closed-minded. I was very much a RE/MAX guy. I was the big balloon. I was all about that. And I'd never even interviewed or looked at really hardly anything else in my career. When I came into real estate, there was only one brand I was going to, and that was RE/MAX. And I don't have any hate for RE/MAX. I think RE/MAX has done an amazing job. I mean, obviously they're the largest, or one of the largest brokerages in the world. Having said that, the reason I actually finally opened it up is I actually had something happen with the brokerage that I was at, with the ownership. And it made me realize that I wasn't in the collaborative environment that I thought we were. And it made me realize that that's not the way we want to practice real estate. We've always been very open. We've always been about giving back and helping others and serving others. We've been about collaboration. My book's like fully open. If anybody wants to come hang out with us and wants to pick our brain, we'll give them time. We always have been like that. Mm-hmm. And I realized that under the traditional brokerage model, it really is a bunch of independent contractors that, yeah, we can be friendly and we can be friends, but like everybody's trying to compete with one another in a sense. Yeah. And the ownership group that I was with, great guys, love them very much, nothing against them personally, but their philosophies on business and mine, I think we're a little bit different, is what I came to realize. They run a very couple of successful brokerages. They have a successful real estate team. And I felt like we always had a two-way street when it came to helping others. But I'm actually coaching full-time now. I've exited production like yourself now for 2-3 months. And so one of their team members had approached me and wanted to get some mentorship, and they weren't okay with that.
Yeah.
And I've never poached any agents from any other teams. I've never been adversarial. I didn't get blood on my hands to become successful in this industry. That was never my approach. And so it just made me question, like, why is that? Because like I would never feel threatened if one of my agents wanted to go learn from them. Absolutely. I mean, these are guys that I looked up to, and people that I've even picked things from, and like, hey, you know what, those are things I aspire to have in my life, like the balance. And one of them has exited production. I don't think he's sold a house for 10 years, but continues to earn an income from real estate. So that was really impressive to me. But the fact that they were threatened, that one of their team members wanted to get some mentoring from me and willing to pay for it out of his own pocket, just made me question, like, what's wrong here? This isn't the collaborative model that I thought it was. And so that's when I actually allowed myself to look at the eXp opportunity. And unfortunately, once I went down that rabbit hole of actually looking at it, I couldn't unsee what I'd seen.
So what is it that you saw that caused you to move? You know, because I think there's a lot of people in their similar boat. Like they've taken a glance, or someone's explained it to them really fast, or in 3 bullet points. And you know, obviously, I say obviously, if you're familiar with eXp and you've done any homework, it's pretty obvious. But if you haven't, the conversation typically comes around 1 or 2 or 3 things, right? Revenue share is kind of the hottest topic of everything. Like, how much money can you make in a residual, long-term? You know, you can talk about it as retirement. You can talk about it as passive or whatever. That's a big thing. Number 2, people are talking about kind of the digital, low overhead, no bricks and mortar, virtual world of education and sharing and whatever you want to call that, or camaraderie or whatever, right? And then the third one, for me at least, what I see is the stock thing. And I think there's a tremendous amount of confusion around that piece. But was it one of those 3 things? Was it something else? What was the thing you saw? Obviously, you've explained kind of why you were open to looking.
Sure.
What is it that you saw that you were like, yep, that's where we're going?
Okay, so here's the difference. eXp is an agent-owned brokerage, which means over 50% of the profits stay with the agent. So instead of me being a renter every month like I was at my previous brokerage, where I literally exchanged money every month for services, and basically the services I was getting was management services, right? So we had a managing broker. We had payroll services. Those are really what I was getting. And then I had to use the Remax branding, which I never really took advantage of anyways, because we've always focused on our own brand. But I didn't have any equity stake. What I would do is, based on the performance that I would have every year, I'd get a medallion handed to me, you know, for hitting a club level. And then if I wanted to buy a trophy,
this is my favorite part.
If I wanted to, I could buy a trophy for $150 from the Remax store, and I would buy my own trophy for the performance that I had. And when I thought about that, I was like, that's kind of ridiculous. Whereas over at eXp, it's like, hey, thanks for your performance. Here's $12,000 in shares in the company. You're an owner in the company, and that's money that you can, you know, vest for 3 years, and that will grow exponentially, I'm sure. The other thing too is I can buy shares at a 20% discount up to 5% of my commissions, my gross commission. So I was like, well, that's cool. And then the other best part is, hey, I can build my own brokerage in a sense without having all the overhead, all the expenses of starting a brokerage. As you know, Todd, it's not cheap, right? You need managing brokers. There's a lot of compliance pieces. And if I introduce people to our model, which is to be collaborative, to be helpful, we have a coaching company services where we can help people. We financially benefit, and so do those agents. So that part made sense to me. And since I've made the switch, it's amazing how collaborative it is. Like literally everybody's wanting to help you. Why? Because they're all owners. We all own the company together. And so the more successful everybody in the company is, the more successful we all are in the company is. And so it's different versus at Remax, it's all the franchisees that are making the profits. And then of course the executive level up above. Right. So that was a big mind shift. So it was like equity versus trophies that I have to pay for.
Right.
To me, that was a no-brainer, just that alone.
So the big number one thing I'm hearing from you is the ownership piece, right? Now, there's obviously some nuance and layers to what that means, but the bigger piece, it sounds like the dominant thing that really pulled you was if you're an owner, right? Now, people can buy more, have more or less stock, more stake equity, but your point is if you're in, there's an incentive to be for everyone else that's in, right? To collaborate. Maybe you're not like giving them all your tips and tricks, but at a minimum, you're like, hey, I want you to succeed. And then obviously there are sort of, I don't know what they call them, revenue groups or kind of groups within that are like super directly, like you were saying, hey, we have a coaching group. Like if you're with us, we want to invest in you to help you succeed. The
university is pretty unreal, Todd. I will say that. So there's a eXp university, and like literally any training program, anything that you can think of on any topic is available Monday, almost every day of the week, there's some training going on somewhere. And there's a ton of mega producers like myself. There's people that are doing well within the company that are openly sharing, because we're all about helping other people succeed. Because again, the success of the company benefits all of us, right? Including, anybody that's even just entered the company. So that part was really cool, the collaboration. So it's a totally different culture. It's where I think real estate needs to go. I think as a real estate group, we're kind of stupid in the sense that we're all competing with one another. And so all these companies are monetizing on our lack of ability to kind of work collectively together.
Well,
and so we're constantly having people monetize on that, in my opinion.
In my commentary on that as a non-eXp person is my experience is people like you and me and a lot of the people that we both know, the bigger producers are the more collaborative ones, which is why they're the bigger producers, right? They're constantly hungry to learn, and they're willing to exchange, their tips and tricks for your tips and tricks. And often, like you said, I'm willing to share without getting anything in return. But I think that's just the mentality that leads to success. And what I see is that eXp, for obvious reasons, is really most attractive to those types of people. I think when we talk about our industry is full of people that don't do that, those are the onesie, twosie, deal here, deal there, less successful people that are less successful because they're information hoarders and they don't trust that anyone could ever be, a coach could ever be good. Like, well, you coach because you can't do it. What?
No.
So I think there's this big split in the industry, and the split is dramatic. Maybe it's the Pareto principle. Maybe it's 80-20. It's probably more like 95-5, right? And what I see, I'll just be brutally honest, I'm an individual brokerage owner. I own my brokerage, and at my brokerage is my team, and that's about it. There's less than 20 people here, staff, agents, everything. But what I see that is attractive and enticing about eXp is that it seems that the strategy has been, we'll grow through the influencers, we'll grow through top producers. Now, obviously, there's tons of different variety at eXp, but the people that I'm paying attention to that are moving over are guys like you and other people that we know, guys and gals, that are sharers, that are top producers, that are smart, that are hardworking. And so for me, I'm really happy with what I've got, but I can't take my eye off the fact smart, successful, generous, kind people are making that move. And so I'm like, what do I need to know? So is it okay with you if I just ask you some stuff I'm still unsure about?
Of course, I'd love to answer any questions you have. And look, just like this may not be an opportunity for everybody. There's always going to be a place for the Remax and the Keller Williams and your brokerage. And, so just know, like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I don't associate with anybody else. I don't care what brokerage people are at. As long as you are working within your values, you're happy. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I realized I wasn't happy where I was because it was going against my values, and I was in denial about it for a long time. And again, it's not because they're bad people. There's a lot of great people, friends of mine, the ownership group, everybody there was amazing. It's not a question. It's just, I don't want to be in this viewed as like, we're in an adversarial world where I'm trying to crush you or you're trying to crush me. I want to be in a collaborative world where how can we all rise together? As an industry, our biggest threat, this is an NAR study, the number one threat to organized real estate is realtors.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And, I wrote a whole book on the lies I think people believe that cause that, that create an industry of laziness and ineffectiveness and, a lot of bogus stuff. So anyway, here's the biggest question I feel like I haven't been able to fully answer. If you're someone, in your exact same situation, and then I'll go to mine, which is as an owner. But so you're a team leader, and you've got a split with your broker, and then you have a split with your team members. When you make the move to eXp in the short term, is it more expensive, less expensive, or the same?
For me, it's about the same as the team leader, but because we're a mega team, I figured it out. It's about a 50 to 60% savings for my team members.
In the short term. So
in the short term and the long term.
Okay. So the long term seems to me to be pretty clear. If you've got a team of people that hit their caps every year, you get all that back in stock and you're good to go. So let me clarify a couple of points.
Or Todd, in my team, because we're a mega team based on our production levels, and you would probably be right on the cusp of that too. They actually, instead of getting the stocks, they actually get the savings right up front because they pay a quarter cap. So they actually save $12,000 annually right up front being a mega team. So to me, that was really attractive for my agents.
So someone told me this and I don't think it's true. So let me clarify. A team member, they can get the Icon Award or whatever it's called, where they get all their cap money or stock back.
They can choose to do that. But if you're part of a mega team, you wouldn't want to do that, because why not just save the $12,000 instead of getting in shares? Why don't you just save yourself the $12,000 and invest it in whatever you want, but get that immediate savings right up front?
I didn't know. Okay, I didn't understand that the first time.
And that's a mega team.
If you're solo, your cap is what?
So if you're solo, your cap is 16,000. So it's 80-20 to a 16,000 cap. Where
So
I believe Keller Williams is 24,000. If I'm comparing it to people that other models that have a cap, I don't know either, but it's basically you cap out at 16,000. It's an 80-20 split.
Okay. And then if you're a mega team, and if I'm a member of your team, now I have a quarter cap, so I only pay 4,000.
That's right.
So I got it. That makes a lot of sense now. So you're saving the $12K up front. You never had to pay it. You just commit to paying a $4K cap, which if you're a producer on a team, you're going to hit early. And then you can just go buy stock with your commission. That's your money to do whatever the heck you want to do with it, or whatever.
Or do whatever you want. Go buy some other stock.
So that's where I think several people have explained this to me and others really badly, where in that explanation, they basically said a team member can't become an Icon agent and get all that stock back because they have to pay something different, when in reality, like you said, you could fairly say you're getting it up front, or basically you just have a much lower.
They're getting it up front.
Okay.
And if you're not a mega team, Todd, so say you're a team that has you would blow that part out of the water, and a lot of teams would. You can do a half cap.
Yeah.
So where your cap is 8,000. So you wouldn't qualify for the Icon status, but you would pay, your fees would be up to 8K is your cap.
Right. It's all proportionate. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what is there a volume number, a transactional number? What qualifies you as a mega team?
So for a mega team, you have to do, I believe, a minimum of 198 transactions a year.
Okay.
And you have to have 10 agents.
Okay.
10 agents on your team. Now, if you're at 9 and you're at that production level, you basically, if you top up the difference as the team leader, there may be some exceptions made.
Okay.
But
that's basically
where kind of the heart. That's where you get to mega team.
Yeah, and we don't have that many agents. So I think that's why I hadn't looked at it that way before. But the transactions are there, but not the agents. But I'm just thinking out loud, obviously, and I hope this is valuable if you're watching and listening, because I'm just trying to understand it better, and I trust Jason to have done his homework. And I know that he cares for his team members. So a lot of the accusations are like, well, this is good for the team leader, but it's not good for the agents. And then I think one of the other things that I'll be honest, I've thought this. A lot of the people I see moving to eXp are now all of a sudden in the business of recruiting, and they're not as much in the business of selling homes and taking care of clients. So do you want to just speak to that, or your evolution of thought on that, or whatever?
Sure. I don't believe in recruiting. I believe in attracting. So if anybody's interested in what we're doing and being a part of our systems and knowing that we can bring value and we want to see them succeed, we believe that by building and doing what we're doing, we're going to attract people. And that's how we've been attracting people. I haven't been making proactive phone calls or trying to recruit anybody, because I personally, that's against my core values. So I want to attract people. If people want to be a part of what we're doing, they want to be a part of a collaborative movement. They want to have, a team that has a high level of production, that knows how to do real estate in a high fashion, that's all about the client. We want to attract those types of people, people that don't have big egos either, people that are about serving others and helping other people be successful. There's a lot of things that we're doing right now that I believe are going to be making a positive impact on the industry. I want to see that failure rate go down, and I want to see more quality people in the industry really thriving and doing well. And so my one mission and why I'm in coaching full time now is not because of the money, because truthfully, I can make a ton of money selling real estate. That doesn't fulfill me. It's seeing other people succeed. That's really my why. Why do I do this to this day? Is because I enjoy that part of it. I like giving back and serving other people. And I do that in by mentoring my team members, our affiliate program that we've created by helping people with the eXp opportunity. And truthfully, I'll help anybody at any brokerage. If somebody wants to reach out, we make time for them. I've always done that from day one. And it's pretty cool how the universe just sort of creates opportunities for you when you do that. Like I literally help people and never expect anything. I just want to genuinely help them. And if they can pay it forward to somebody else, great. That will make our industry better. So that's always been my philosophy. And that.
That's why I enjoy doing the show with you and just masterminding and sharpening each other's, because I think we share that value. I think, we've talked about this before, but I get dozens of calls every week, and very few of them are going to be a coaching client, at least now, or are going to join our team. Most of them are in other parts of the country or in your country. But I've been surprised, and I shouldn't be. I mean, not really surprised, but at the time you're always kind of chuckling that someone I answered a question for 3 years ago might call with a referral or call and say, hey, dude, I'm ready. I want to join your coaching program or whatever. And that's not why you do it, but that, like you said, those things breed opportunities, generosity and a willingness to help and a desire for your personal scoreboard, not just to be dollars and cents, but to be, it was super fun to see that guy bust his tail and now his wife gets to stay home with the kids, or that guy was able to get out of debt, or she was able to hire some staff and now she gets her weekends back, whatever, to see people grow and thrive. So, it's super, super interesting. It's fun to see your kind of evolution of thought and understanding and clarity around it. And I know how excited you are about the future for your team members and your kind of brokerage within the brokerage. And then, and then the big vision of just changing the industry. And that's where I've got a few more questions for you.
Please.
What do you think? I mean, the stats are out there. 80-something% of people don't make it to their second year in the business or whatever. What do you think the eXp movement will do to move that needle? I mean, obviously you've talked a lot about collaboration, but what's the tangible thing that you feel like is going to change? Do you think we'll have less agents that are better at their jobs? Do you think we'll still have 2 million agents and they'll just all get better? Or what do you see?
Two things. I think the barrier to entry in the industry is going to go higher. I think you're going to have to treat this like a professional practice. You're going to have to sharpen your skills. I think the people that are failing in real estate, number one, is maybe they didn't have the emotional intelligence coming into it to understand what their skill sets were. Maybe they didn't align themselves with the right people. Often people make decisions based on cost when they should really be making decisions based on value and what they're going to get from it. Like,
agree.
People that are like, oh, I pay nothing at my brokerage, but you generally get nothing in return, or people that are like, oh, I don't want to be a part of a team, but then they're failing and they can't make enough money to support themselves. So I always believe in focusing on the pennies. You always lose on the dollars. So I think why some people have maybe come over to eXp and maybe didn't have the best experience, like the small percentage that maybe have had that, because they didn't align themselves with the right people. You have to find people that have similar core values, that are givers, that want to see you succeed and will actually have had a level of success and can bring value to your life. I mean, I know for a fact, if I was new to the industry and I came and spent time and I was mentored by someone like Todd, that I would see a huge, huge impact in my ability to thrive in the industry quickly. I know for a fact that I can take people who don't have a track record of success and I can help them be successful in a short period of time because I understand the business. And I could help them develop strategies and plans to do that. So I think it's who you surround yourself with really impacts your ability to perform. And so I think a lot of people end up going to brokerages. They don't get mentored the right way because the broker owners that own those places don't have the track level of success or are not invested in their success. They're just basically, it's like a landlord collecting a rent check every month. And for me, that I despise that, like, sure, I have rental properties, but I'm talking about real estate. I would never want to take somebody into our group and not provide them the services and tools they need to be successful. And I believe eXp allows me to do that. For example, I'm a huge fan of Real Geeks, love my Real Geek site, right? Like, I'm a big fan of it.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah, keep going.
I love the KV Core website too. And so, like, for me, am I going to switch over to KV Core at this point? No, because I have 20,000 leads in my database and systems. However, if I can take a brand new agent from scratch that can get that for free as part of their technology fee at conversion, they have a phenomenal lead conversion website that they can utilize right out of the gate, that I could teach them the same strategies and tools we've used to be successful, to get a return on investment and help them crush it. So if I was a brand new agent from scratch, I would absolutely take advantage of that tool. Most brokerages will offer you some real crappy website that has no lead conversion components and is literally an online business card, and say, oh yeah, well, we provide a website. No. I don't want a website. I want a lead capture tool and system that I can build my business around. And that's one thing that eXp does exceptionally well. We have an amazing technology platform that we get as part of our technology fee, the backend software, the Authentisign programs that we get. So the technology is all there. And if somebody partners, for example, with someone like me, I can teach them how to utilize that technology to actually get a really strong return on investment and grow a predictable business. So to me, that's really cool to be in that type of position where I can help people do that.
Yeah, love it. I appreciate you clearing a bunch of that stuff up. I've got one last question, but before I do that, what else do you want to share just about your journey and your shift? I mean, you and I have been talking over the last year about how you've worked towards getting out of production. You've worked towards creating the ability to train and coach some agents outside of your organization. And then obviously eXp kind of bridged that gap in some way. But what else do you feel like people ought to know or you want to share with them on that note?
You know what? It's such a cool industry that it's allowed me the ability to build multiple companies now, have multiple income streams that not only benefit me, but are benefiting the people in my organization. So first of all, I'm grateful to the industry. I'm grateful for having, people like yourself, friends like you that I can collaborate with that make me better, where we can push each other and raise the bar. And I'm really in this like give back movement. How can I help really make a positive impact on the industry? When I, pass away one day, I would love to have built some legacy where, obviously my kids, had me in their lives and were proud of the dad that I was, but also the people that I impacted, say, hey, this guy actually made a difference. I try to make an impact in everybody that I come in contact with. Obviously that's maybe idealistic, but I really want to see people do well in this business. Like anybody that I come in contact, I really want the best for them. Like I don't have that adversarial mindset where I want to be the guy that crushes everybody and everybody else is struggling. I hate that. I want to see everybody do exceptionally well. And hey, if I'm lucky enough to do just a little bit better, but I'm in an environment with people all thriving, to me, that's success. So my why is completely different than a lot. I'm not motivated by material items whatsoever. I don't care about any of that. I really just care about freedom. And I feel the freest I've ever been since I've been an entrepreneur. And having exited production now, that's been pretty cool because now I'm able to spend time mentoring and coaching others. So I'm able to pay it forward quite a bit more than I was before. And now I sort of understand where you're at. You've been there for a few years and it's a pretty cool place to finally get to. And certainly I'm going to work really hard to stay there and be able to continue to do this and help others succeed, because the impact that I've been able to make with people in the last few months in our coaching programs and stuff has been really great and pretty exciting to see. Some of the affiliates I've been working with for, the last eight months, there's a couple new agents that were kind of lost and, were kind of like, oh my God, I don't know where I'm going. And now they're like doing a deal a week. Yeah. And that's like their second year in real estate, both of them. And that's pretty cool to see that in different markets, and I'm able to help them go there. So I'm very blessed, Todd. So sorry to ramble on, but I just really feel grateful that what this industry has provided for me and my family. Anybody that knows my story knows that 4 years ago, I was not in a good financial place. I had some hardships and things that I'd gone through and some adversities. And to feel like I've been able to bounce back, I've really tried to remain very humble, and I'm paying it forward to other people now so I can make an impact to the people at least that I work with.
Yeah, man. Love it. It's exciting. My last question was just where do you see your team, your organization like in the next 5 years or so?
Good question. Like I would love to build out this affiliate division that we have. I think that's a big opportunity there. I'd love to keep the consistency of our real estate team. I'd love to get us continuing to do 250 to 300 deals a year. I'm happy with that number. I like to keep, an intimate group there, but grow out our affiliate division where we can expand in other markets and help people build their own brand, help people build their own businesses. That part's exciting. We're building a media company, which that's another thing that I'm passionate about that ties into real estate. And then our coaching programs just continue to pay it forwards and help other people create financial stability and become entrepreneurs. I mean, that's my mission is I'm not looking to work with hundreds of people, but if I can make an impact in 50 people's lives or 100 people's lives, and then help them go from being successful realtors to true entrepreneurs like yourself, to me, that's success. That's something that really excites me, because now they can create employment in their communities. They can really make a tangible impact in the lives of others. And I've certainly always believed in, you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. You give a man a fish, he eats for a day. How can I teach more people to know how to fish? And that's really what I think entrepreneurship is.
Yep. Love it, man. Love it. So many similarities, but different enough to keep learning from each other and sharing with others. So hopefully this has been valuable for you if you're tuning in, whether you're interested in eXp or not. And you've heard Jason say that he's not trying to recruit anybody, and I'm not with eXp, but it's been good to get clear answers and see how it's impacted Jason and his team and folks in his organization. So if you ever have questions for Jason, his information is below the video. Reach out to him. If you ever have questions for me, reach out. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities here. If you have referrals, Jason and his team are in Nanaimo up in Canada on Vancouver Island. We're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. If you're interested in the things that Jason does uniquely well, he and his team do some coaching. If you're interested in what we do uniquely well, we do some coaching and consulting as well. If you're interested in eXp, reach out to Jason. If you're in either of our local areas and you want to grab a cup of coffee and swap good ideas, we both love doing that as well. So make sure you subscribe and get future episodes of this show. We try to do a handful every month. We don't do them if we don't have anything to say, because we're not here just to hear ourselves talk. But if we've got something to talk about and we think it would be valuable for others, then we would invite you into that conversation. So like them, share them, subscribe, all that internet stuff. But if you keep doing that, we'll keep recording them, and we'll talk to you all very, very soon on another one. Y'all take care.
Thanks, Todd.